Watching.
To capitalize on the event, the DOT, in partnership with the Tourism Consortium, has launched tour packages for those interested in watching the games. These packages include itineraries that cover famous tourist sites across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Hotel and industry players have also come together to offer reasonable rates for those purchasing the packages.
You know, we are on our recovery stage, right? Room rates are on the rise, but of course, we in HSMA, and of course the whole industry, will always support the Department of Tourism's.
Interested individuals can visit www.discoverphilippines.travel. In addition to basketball, the DOT will also focus on esports to promote the Philippines as a top sporting destination. Meanwhile, the Tourism Secretary was asked about the ongoing investigation into the production of a promotional video for the Love the Philippines tourism campaign.
We've spoken at length already about the consequences surrounding the video on Love the Philippines, and our statement speaks for itself.
The DOT had previously terminated its contract with DDB Philippines, the company responsible for the video. It was discovered that DDB used stock footage from other countries for the Philippines AVP. Despite this issue, the DOT remains committed to promoting the Philippines under the Love the Philippines campaign. For Ganamable of Philippines, MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
China appointed its senior diplomat Wang Yi as a new foreign minister after removing Qin Gang. Carlo de la Peña files this report.
The government of China has removed Qin Gang as the foreign minister of the country, replacing him with his predecessor Wang Yi. According to Chinese media, the country's top legislature, the National People's Congress standing, voted to appoint Wang Yi as foreign minister. According to Chinese media, Qin's removal as foreign minister of China is in line with the organic law of the National People's Congress, which came in effect in 2021. The announcement came following a month after Qin's last public appearance. Qin was made foreign minister in December. His last public appearance was when he held talks with the foreign ministers of Russia, Vietnam, and Sri Lanka in late June. Meanwhile, Wang Yi is currently attending the BRICS National Security Advisors meet in South Africa. Reporting, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
Ahead of the BRICS summit in South Africa next month, national security advisors and High Representative on National Security of member countries held a two-day meeting in Johannesburg. Following talks between Chinese and Russian officials, the two countries are looking to further strengthen ties. Let's find out more from Margaret Percasio.
Wang Yi, director of the Office of Communist Party of China's Central Commission for Foreign Affairs, met with Nikolai Patrushev, Secretary of Security Council of the Russian Federation, in South Africa's Johannesburg on Monday. During the meeting, Wang said China-Russia relations have withstood the test of major changes in international politics and become more mature, resilient, and vigorous. China is willing to further strengthen strategic communication with Russia, enhance strategic mutual trust, deepen the synergy between the Belt and the Road Initiative and the Eurasian Economic Union, and intensify coordination and cooperation at the bilateral, regional, and international levels, Wang said. Wang underlined that the two sides should work together to oppose hegemonic and high-handed acts, enrich the China-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Coordination for the new era, and inject new impetus into a multipolar world and democratization of international relations. Hailing BRICS cooperation in recent years with both practical outcomes and institutional progress, he stressed that the BRICS countries are all major emerging markets and developing countries that play important role in the world. China is ready to work closely with Russia and other BRICS countries to further strengthen BRICS cooperation in a bid to safeguard the common interest of developing countries, Wang added. And similarly, Patrushev said Russia is willing to strengthen strategic communication with China expand practical cooperation, and deepen coordination and cooperation within the frameworks, including BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, to inject more stability into a volatile world. The two sides also exchange views on international and regional issues of common concern. Reporting, this has been Margaret Parcasio, SMNI News.
Australia and the United States started their largest military exercise to date. Sheena Selim has the details.
At least 30,000 troops from 13 countries are participating in the ongoing war games in Australia. Dubbed Exercise Talisman Sabre, the biennial military exercises started on Friday, the 21st of July, and will run for 2 weeks. The joint military exercises started in 2005, but the drills held this year will be the largest yet. The drills will involve German troops for the first time. According to the U.S. Navy Secretary Carlos Del Toro, the war games led by Australia and the United States aim to send a message to China that America's allies are cooperating to defend their security and democratic values. Australian Minister of Defense Richard Marles and his American counterpart welcomed the ever-closer bilateral military ties as they launched the exercise at a Sydney naval base. Both sides were also upbeat about the progress on the so-called AUKUS deal, under which Australia will be granted a fleet of submarines by the US and Britain, powered by America's nuclear technology. For Western allies, the timelines of the exercise serves as a show of force and unity at a time when China has emerged as an increasingly assertive influence in the Indo-Pacific. Reporting from New South Wales, this is Sheena Selim, SMNI News, Australia.
Chinese experts likened the ongoing military exercise in Australia to a paper tiger after a top official of the United Navy warned the drills aim to send a message to Beijing. Sasha Hassa tells us more.
As thousands of troops flock to Australia to join the exercise Talisman Sabre, experts from China are skeptical whether the drills are powerful enough to convince participating countries to follow the United States in its every beck and call. A paper tiger. This was how China's global mouthpiece likened the ongoing military drills headed by the United States and Australia taking place in the Asia-Pacific waters. For Chinese experts, the drills, dubbed the largest show of force since it was founded in 2005, proved to be impressive on paper. However, they believe the exercise, which includes member countries from Europe, North America, and the Asia-Pacific, cannot persuade all its participants to serve the U.S. purpose. At an opening ceremony in Sydney's naval base last week, China's U.S. Navy Secretary Carlos Del Toro described the water games as a way of sending a message to China that America's allies are cooperating to defend their security and democratic values. Meanwhile, an Australian senior military officer reported that a Chinese surveillance ship, believed to be positioned off the Queensland coast, attempted to collect sensitive information on the multinational exercise last week. But Australia's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defence Richard Marles said he is not concerned about the alleged spy vessel's entry to the Coral Sea and pointed out there always seemed to be a Chinese ship watching the exercises since 2013. Local experts have slammed the so-called Western hype, stating it is unreasonable to exaggerate the legal presence of the Chinese ships, and noted how U.S. warships have also frequently trespassed into China's territorial waters. Chinese experts accused the U.S. of playing word games to maintain its global hegemony and reminded Australia to maintain its strategic independence to protect its national interests. The military exercise kicked off ahead of U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and U.S. Secretary of State Blinken's scheduled visit to Papua New Guinea and Australia this week. Reporting from Sydney, this has been Sasha Hassa, SMNI News, Australia.
Vice President Sara Duterte and House Speaker Martin Romualdez were spotted having a conversation at an event alongside President Bongbong Marcos. Have the two reconciled after recent tensions? Let's have found out more in MJ Montejar's report.
It has been several months since House Speaker Martin Romualdez and Vice President Sara Duterte had a public interaction. The meeting took place during the stand-up ceremony for President Bongbong Marcos at the Villamor Air Base. Both were seen smiling while conversing. Eventually, they were left alone talking. During the 2022 elections, Duterte and Romualdez were seen as close allies. In fact, Vice President Duterte became the chairman of the Lakas CMD party, with Romualdez being the president. However, their relationship turned sour after the vice president resigned from the party a few days after Pampanga Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo was removed as senior deputy speaker. It appears that the younger Duterte did not approve what was done to Arroyo. This led to the rise of the Visayan term tambaloslos, which has multiple meanings in Visayan language. One possible interpretation is worthless companion. It can also be a comment directed at arrogant people, or a reaction of Visayan people when they disapprove of something done by the person they're talking to.
I hope and we pray that this could be the start or the beginning of a reconciliation between the two of them. I believe that we don't need at this point in time any bickering from our political leaders.
Before President Marcos Jr.'s stand-up speech, Duterte and Romualdez were seen arriving together at Maharlika Hall. Both appeared like godparents attending a wedding. The two officials were close to President Marcos Jr., Romualdez being his cousin and Duterte being his running mate under the Unitim ticket. So if there's any tension between the two of them, it could possibly affect the president. So for the chief executive,
the speaker and the vice president canoodling is always a very good sign.
the meeting of Duterte and Romualdez took place after the recent State of the Nation address of President Marcos here in the Batasan complex. For Ganamable of Philippines, MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
The government of Kuwait revived talks concerning the availability of Schengen visas for Kuwaiti citizens with the European Council. Details of this reports from Melchizedek Cadiz.
Kuwaiti Foreign Affairs Minister Salem Abdullah Al-Jaber Al-Sabah and the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, discussed schemes that can be applied to Kuwaiti citizens applying for Schengen visas. The foreign minister took the chance to raise the current dilemma during his meeting with Michel on the sidelines of the International Conference on Development and Migration held in Rome. For some time now, authorities in Kuwait have been calling on the EU to facilitate the Schengen visa issuing rules for all Kuwaiti nationals and not make them subject to complex rules. Moreover, Minister Al-Sabah also asked Schengen countries to increase the number of available appointment slots for Kuwaitis and to accelerate the processing time so more of its citizens get to travel to Schengen area. The Schengen visa enables its holder to stay for up to 90 days for tourism or business purposes in any 27 European countries within the Schengen zone. Reporting, this has been Melchizedek Cadiz, SMNI News, Kuwait.
North Korea fired another 2 ballistic missiles late Monday evening that fell outside Japan's exclusive economic zone. Details of this report from Ria Saito.
Tensions remain high in the region as North Korea launches 2 more ballistic missiles late on Monday. The missiles were launched from near Pyongyang, both just before midnight. According to Japan's defense ministry, the projectiles flew about 350 kilometers and 400 kilometers that fell off the east coast outside Japan's exclusive economic zone. Earlier on Tuesday, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida held a press conference where he strongly condemned North Korea's provocative act and as it is in violation of UN Security Council resolutions which bans the launch of ballistic missiles. He added that such acts threaten the peace and stability of not just Japan, but the international community as well. The latest launch comes after the visit of a U.S. submarine Annapolis in the South Korean naval base at Jeju Island Monday, July 24th, as part of Washington's efforts with Seoul to strengthen deterrence in the region. Currently, North Korea is preparing for its 70th anniversary of the July 27 signing of a ceasefire for the 1950 to 1953 Korean War. However, ahead of its celebration, Pyongyang has already launched several ballistic missiles. It can be noted that last Saturday, July 22nd, North Korea fired cruise missiles towards the Yellow Sea and 2 short-range ballistic missiles on Wednesday, July 19th, towards the Sea of Japan. 以上、日本からセクトリアニュースをお伝えしました。SMNI News, Japan.
Foreign minister officials of South Korea, Japan, and the United States are agreeing to work together in preparation for the upcoming summit between the 3 countries. Meanwhile, South Korea's Vice Defense Minister meets with the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Chief. Let's find out more from Kim Sang.
On Monday, South Korean First Vice Foreign Minister Chung Ho-jin, the United States Deputy Secretary Wendy Sherman, and Japanese Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Takeo Mori discussed over the phone measures to beef up the country's trilateral cooperation and agreed to strengthen security cooperation against North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. South Korea's foreign minister said the 3 sides assessed that their trilateral cooperation has advanced to a new level based on the commitments of President Yoon Suk-yeol, United States President Joe Biden, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. The said summit will be the first time the 3 leaders will meet solely for the purpose of a trilateral summit and not on the margins of a multilateral summit. Talks between South Korea, the United States, and Japan will be held in Camp David, Washington on August 18th later this year. Meanwhile, South Korea's Vice Defense Minister Shin Bun-chul met with Admiral John Aquilino, commander of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command in Hawaii on Monday, local time, to discuss the security situation in the Korean Peninsula and other issues. To note, Shin is in Hawaii to take part in a repatriation ceremony for the fallen South Korean soldiers from the 1950 to 53 Korean War. In addition, all the details that have been mentioned comes a week after the deployment of the USS Kentucky to South Korea and the inaugural session of the Bilateral Nuclear Consultative Group. Seoul, Isobogo Kim Sang, Imnida, SMNI News, South Korea.
The America's Forest Service admitted that it started a monster wildfire that almost reached Los Alamos, New Mexico last year. The U.S. Forest Service has admitted the Cerro Pelado fire, which burned over 60 square miles in Sandoval County, New Mexico in April of 2022, was caused by them. The said wildfire burned in dry, windy conditions and crept within a few miles of Los Alamos City. It came within a few miles of a national security laboratory in Los Alamos. Scientists from the university in Thailand discovered an Asian herbivorous dinosaur, offering vital insights into the region's prehistoric biodiversity. Here is more from Anissa de Guzman.
Scientists from Mahasaracam University made an exciting discovery by unearthing the ancient remains of a herbivorous dinosaur with existence dating back to 145 million years ago. The remarkably preserved skeleton of Minimacursor fanuensis was found in Kalasin Province, Thailand, in the lower part of the Pukradang Formation at the Punay locality. It belonged to a clade of herbivorous dinosaurs known as Ornithischia. These finds offers valuable insights into the early evolutionary history of these dinosaurs during the late Jurassic-early Cretaceous period. Meanwhile, another significant discovery was made last month in Thailand, where fossilized footprints believed to belong to a plant-eating dinosaur were found in Phetchabun. The two rows of footprints resemble those of a plant-eating sauropod, providing clear evidence of an ancient animal that likely roamed the area over 200 million years ago, as confirmed by a French paleontologist. These discoveries significantly enhance our understanding of prehistoric life in Southeast Asia. With further research, scientists hope to unravel more mysteries from our planet's ancient history. Di siya Nanisa Di Guzman, Drangan Chakuntep Mahanakon, SMNI News, para Tatay, Sawadika.
Ecuador is under a state of emergency amid a wave of violent clashes following the assassination of Manta Coastal City Mayor Agustin Intriago. Jane Cadnita tells us more.
An explosion was reported at Litoral Prison in Guayaquil, Ecuador, amid an ongoing riot that has killed at least 6 people since Sunday. The chaos is among the wave of violence that occurred in Ecuador over the weekend. President Guillermo Lasso on Monday declared a state of emergency and night curfews in the coastal province. Lasso declared a state of emergency in the Ecuadorian provinces of Los Rios, Manabi, and Induran City near Guayaquil. This is after Manta City Mayor Agustin Intriago was shot dead on Sunday. Riots also occurred over the weekend in the Ecuadorian prison of Penitenciaria del Litoral in Guayaquil, which involves clashes between gangs inside of the said prison. Prisoners also took 96 guards as hostages in jails in Cotopaxi, Azuay, Cañar, El Oro, and Napo, and are continuing a hunger strike that began on Sunday in 13 Ecuadorian prisons. Reasons as to why the strikes occurred were not disclosed. Meanwhile, Ecuadorian police were deployed in certain areas including Manabi, Los Rios, and Canton Duran in compliance with the Executive Decree 824 issued by the Security Committee. Ecuadorian police officers carried out operations to restore security and control in the prison. The state of emergency will last for 60 days in the said provinces. The night curfews, on the other hand, will vary during the said period. Reporting, this has been Jane Codnita, SMNI News.
A heartbroken young girl who lost her one and only pet, Mare, from a disease was given so much more after she received a herd of horses from no other than the ruler of Dubai. Jonathan Acobo has the story.
Marhaba! 8-year-old Lania Fakhar touched so many hearts, including Dubai ruler Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, after a video of her grieving over the death of her precious mare immediately went viral on social media.
The young equestrian from Iraq cannot control her sadness. After seeing her pet mare she considered her best friend died from a sudden illness. Lania is the youngest jockey from her country, and her dream is to have her special equestrian place to train young people in Kurdistan. The 8-year-old has cared for the mare since she was 5, and its death made her feel devastated. After seeing the footage of Lania crying bitterly over the death of her pet, Sheikh Mohammed immediately ordered to send a herd of horses to the Fakhar family and even built a training center where the young equestrian can develop her passion for horses.
Lania and her family expressed gratitude to the ruler of Dubai for not only lifting her spirits, but also supporting her dream to be an equestrian and for the chance to share her passion with others. Tajublak Almazimin Taditi at Karun Bahay Canada Jothan Kowals My News, 90 Emirates.
Cambodia has confirmed the near completion of naval base, which has raised concern among the U.S. and China's growing network of naval outpost. Satellite images showing substantial progress have fueled the apprehensions. Chatmangkong Pisamangoson files the report.
Tensions are rising as Cambodia's Rim naval base, funded by China, approaches completion. The United States fears the facility may serve Chinese military interests, further straining ties between Cambodia and the U.S. Cambodian Defense Ministry spokesman Chum Suchat denied claims of foreign military use, insisting that the base aims to modernize Cambodia's military for protecting territorial integrity. However, satellite images from Black Sky, a U.S. commercial imagery company, show a 363-meter-long pier at the Rim base, raising suspicions among U.S. officials. Experts, including Craig Singleton from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, noted striking similarities between the Rim-based pier and a military pier at China's People's Liberation Army Support Base in Djibouti. These parallels have intensified U.S. concerns that the Rim base might be used for accommodating aircraft carriers. The U.S. has been wary of the Rim base since 2019, following reports of a deal allowing China to dock warships there. Cambodia's growing ties with China under long-standing ruler Hun Sen have further fueled apprehensions. As the Rim naval base nears its inauguration, global attention remains on how it will be utilized. While Cambodia denied foreign military intentions, U.S. suspicions persist, underscoring the complex geopolitical dynamics in the region. รายงานจากราชบุรี นายชัมนงคมพิสมัยโกศล SMNI ประเทศไทย สวัสดีครับ
Philippine media delegations explore the culture and production of one of the most famous teas in the world in Exi County in Fujian, China. Jason Rubrico for the news.
From Zhengzhou City in Fujian, China, the Philippine media delegation traveled more than 1.5 hours to Ansi County. In this place, people are shown the rich tea culture and tea production of China. Ansi is one of the largest tea producers in the country and in the whole world, and known for a type of oolong tea called Tie Guanyin.
Ansi is known for oolong tea. So we have like world famous tea brand, Tie Guanyin. So this one can be called the tea capital in the whole world. It's one of the most important tea export counties in China.
But why is Tie Guanyin famous across the world? Nandito tayo ngayon sa exhibition hall dito sa Ansi, Fujian Province na isa sa pinakamalaking producer at exporter ng sikat na Tie Guanyin. Anila, espesyal ang Tie Guanyin dahil dadaan ito ng 10-step procedure upang makuha ang tamang aroma at lasa. According to a tea master, Chen Liang Chu, who has been in the tea-making industry for more than 30 years, Tie Guanyin is unique because of its production process, which takes 36 hours or more. He said one enjoys this kind of tea because of the benefits obtained from drinking it.
因为铁观音茶多酚氨基酸都是在里面，我们喝了它会抗氧化，
Okay, anti-aging, anti-oxidation, aging. So they have the good elements inside the tea. So
for long life.
长寿吗？
长寿啊！我老妈96岁，今年还在喝啊，每年都在喝啊。
His mother is 96 years old now, and she drinks the Tie Guanyin every day.
Tie Guanyin can be found in most Chinese restaurants around the world. Apart from the great demand of Tie Guanyin in the tea market, this tea is often enjoyed as a gift on occasions. And as we visit Ansi County, we did not miss the opportunity to taste the famous Tie Guanyin. Here, they served us a certain kind of the said tea, which costs 2,000 yuan, or equivalent to more than 15,000 pesos. The product becomes more expensive depending on the duration of the process of making it. During the trip, it was also emphasized that tea is more than a drink, but a philosophy in the Chinese culture.
It's not only a drink, but also a kind of philosophy in Chinese culture. Because you drink tea, you're kind of in the Zen life. It means you are calm, and also you embrace the nature.
Reporting from Chenzhou, Fujian, China, for God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubrico, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. When you are persecuted for your stand, don't succumb to the temptations of becoming weak. Stand and defend your obedience. And that's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news and updates, you may visit SMNINewsChannel.com and follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Mariya Yunkina. Thank you for watching the Newsline World, and thank you to our beloved pastor, Pastor Apollo C.Q. Buloy, for the opportunity to be a part of this program. May you continue to listen on SMNI as it delivers nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news, because SMNI is your source of credibility.